Come to the New Testament, Jesus says in Matthew 6 verse 16, "When you fast." Notice the use of the word when and not if. This means that during our lives, a time will come when we must fast. This makes it then important for every Christian to understand the basic concept of fasting and the mistakes people often make. First thing we want to clarify is that fasting transcends the mere act of abstaining from food and drink. It embodies a holistic approach to spiritual growth, encompassing physical, mental, and emotional dimensions. At its core, fasting serves as a conduit for seeking divine guidance, purifying the soul, and cultivating a deeper connection with the sacred. Having said this, let us now discuss the mistakes people often make while fasting. Mistake 1. Fasting without praying. This is a very common mistake people fall into. Prayer is intricately connected to fasting and plays a crucial role in its purpose, effectiveness, and spiritual impact. Prayer is the vital communication with God that accompanies and enhances the fasting experience because of these three reasons. Firstly, prayer during fasting aligns our hearts and minds with God's will and purposes. It deepens our spiritual focus, humility, and dependence on God as we seek His guidance, wisdom, and intervention. Secondly, prayer during fasting amplifies our spiritual discernment and sensitivity to God's voice. It opens our hearts to receive divine insights, revelation, and direction, enabling us to discern His plans and respond obediently. Lastly, prayer during fasting fosters intimacy and communion with God. It strengthens our relationship with Him, enhances our spiritual growth, and cultivates a deeper sense of connection and fellowship. Prayer is integral to fasting as it transforms the act of abstaining into a powerful spiritual discipline that brings about transformation, breakthroughs, and encounters with God. Mistake 2. Fasting while engrossed with your daily activities. Fasting is a time of spiritual devotion, introspection, and seeking God's guidance. Being overly engrossed in daily activities detracts from this focus. It limits our sensitivity to God's voice, reduces time for prayer and meditation, and can lead to physical and mental fatigue. Jesus warned against fasting with hypocrisy, emphasizing the importance of sincerity and humility in fasting as seen in Matthew 6 verses 16 to 18. Engaging in excessive activities during fasting can result in a superficial approach, lacking genuine spiritual growth and discipline. Fasting requires prioritizing spiritual nourishment over worldly distractions, cultivating discipline, and deepening our relationship with God. It is essential to create a balance, allowing time for rest, reflection, and seeking God's presence during fasting. This approach fosters meaningful spiritual growth, sensitivity to God's leading, and a deeper connection with Him. Mistake 3. Fasting without a true heart. The most common mistake during fasting is viewing it as a transaction for God's intervention rather than a genuine act of repentance and humility. Some approach fasting with the belief that abstaining temporarily from sin and food will prompt God to answer their requests, treating Him as a demanding figure who requires such sacrifices. However, God desires sincere hearts and true repentance over mere outward actions. Fasting is a way for us to humble ourselves before God, showing reverence and honor. When fasting lacks this humility and reverence, it hinders the spiritual benefits intended. Genuine fasting honors God and fosters spiritual growth, but when it becomes a superficial act without heart transformation, its true purpose is lost. In conclusion, I want you to take a reflection of these things discussed and make an action plan of what you will do differently when next you are fasting. If this message has blessed you, kindly consider subscribing and sharing this video with others. God bless you.